Worcester News Tonight presents live coverage of election 2018.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Welcome to this special edition of Worcester News Tonight. Voters went to the polls today to elect local and state officials and vote on 3 ballot questions. We begin with the 17th Worcester District race, which includes Leicester, the Webster Square, and Main South sections of Worcester. Democrat David LaBeouf and Republican Paul Fullen both ran for the open seat. Results are in, and LaBeouf is the big winner tonight, thanks in part to big numbers in the Worcester precinct. Our Brittany Schaefer caught up with LaBeouf moments ago and has more.
I'm here with David LaBeouf, who just won the 17th Worcester District State Representative seat. Now, your opponent, Republican Paul Fullen, won in Leicester, but you won big here in Worcester. First of all, congratulations, and tell me what it takes to win big here in Worcester.
I mean, what it really took in this whole race, what it was about, was leaving no stone unturned, talking to every single voter, and making sure that we really directly engage with people. And although we lost in Leicester, it wasn't by huge margins. We covered a lot of ground, we earned a lot of support in town, and really I just shored up my base, continued to add to the base. That is something that people forget. This is a year where you add voters. It's not a decision of undecided to taking a position. It's voter to non-voter. And we really worked hard, showed our soul and what we stood for, and it was our message too of finding solutions that worked.
What are going to be some of your top priorities as state representative?
Sure. So the number one thing is changing the local aid and school funding formulas. It's really inequitable for central Massachusetts. Making sure that we address really our healthcare system, especially around differentiation of prices for prescription drugs, making sure that there's a minimum standard of care so people basically aren't going into medical debt. Also looking at wage theft and other labor regulations, and then helping out small business owners through more technical assistance programs.
And what challenges do you face in the district?
Well, I mean, the challenge is I still need to introduce myself to a large part of the district who may not have supported me and really get my message out there. And, you know, I'm going to be a first-time rep, so I want people to earn my trust and to see who I am. And I know a lot of the voters came out. They saw that by the way the results came out. And I'm just going to continue to work across party lines and making sure we're with every single person in this district.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, David. Again, I'm here with the 17th Worcester District State Representative David LaBeouf. Now it's time for you to celebrate with your supporters.
We're waiting for a couple more people to come. We're going to start off our victory speech. And again, thanks for giving good coverage to the race and helping to inform the voters.
Thank you so much. We're here at Zorba's in Worcester. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Kate Campanelli is the current rep in the 17th Worcester District. She's leaving the position to run for the Register of Deeds seat. She's running against Democrat Catherine Toomey, a real estate attorney. The seat was formerly held by Anthony Vigliotti, who served for more than 4 decades. The race is a countywide race too close to call at this time. What we do know is Toomey is winning in Worcester. Kate Campanelli beat Kevin Kuros in the Republican primary for the Register of Deeds race. His seat as 8th Worcester District is being contested by Patrick Malone and Michael Sauter. Democrat Patrick Malone is a recent UMass Amherst college graduate and at 22 years old, a first-time candidate. Republican Michael Sauter is a Bellingham selectman, currently serving his 4th year as chairman. The race is currently too close to call. Well, for more, let's go over to Andy Lacombe and Olivia Lemon in our election center.
Anna, thank you. We are following results as they come in, and they are still coming in
yes.
right now. We've got our electronic devices ready to go and following them as they go. One thing we heard tonight, Olivia, when we were out in the field was it's going to be a while.
It is,
you know,
yeah.
a big turnout throughout the night. It's going to be a while. It took a little extra time to count in places like Auburn, Millbury, and then, of course, there are still some towns and communities in central Massachusetts that hand count, and that could be very late tonight. Let's start with Congressman Jim McGovern in the 2nd Massachusetts Congressional District. Congressman McGovern faced the challenge from Tracy Lynn Lavorne, a Republican from Grafton, and Congressman McGovern has been in office since 1996 when he was first elected and started serving in 97. He's a ranking member of the House Rules Committee, and with a win tonight, and he has won tonight, this is one of those things where he becomes another power player, especially if the House turns blue tonight and they have that blue wave that we heard about Democrats taking over. But a pretty substantial victory for the congressman tonight.
You know, and if he does go back to Washington, he could be taking over part of the Democratic majority. We'll kind of see what happens there. Of course, we're still waiting for those numbers to come in. Tracy Lavorne did serve on the Grafton Planning Board, so she was serving as the Republican candidate.
The final numbers have not come in yet, but Congressman McGovern has declared victory with his supporters at Al-Basha. He had about 63% of the vote, with still a lot of precincts reporting in that race. The third Massachusetts congressional district featured a three-way race. Lori Trahan, who won a Democratic primary, a heated Democratic primary, is leading in this race right now. Republican Rick Green is a business owner, auto parts company executive, and has created, according to his own terms, a lot of jobs in northern Worcester County and Middlesex County. And he is polling second right now, and Michael Mullen is an independent. But Lori Trahan right now trending in a very good position to be the next congresswoman from the 3rd Massachusetts district. And also, we are kind of following along this U.S. Senate race, and it's one of those things when Elizabeth Warren faced a challenge from Jeff Deal, and this one was over pretty early.
Right. This was a minute, I think.
About a minute.
Within a minute,
after
we
the
kind
polls.
of knew the results for this one. So Elizabeth Warren has served as a Democrat in the U.S. Senate since 2013. She was running against Jeff Deal, who has been a state rep since 2011. So that was kind of an interesting race, finding out the results so early on in the night.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, of course, a lot of questions if she's going to run for president. Jeff Deal, who ran President Trump's campaign in Massachusetts, and Shiva Ayudare, who is an independent in this race as well, getting about 3% of the vote, at least in the Worcester area. Elizabeth Warren doing very well in Worcester, as you would expect. Worcester is kind of the blue fortress here in central Massachusetts, with a lot of red around it in some of the counties as well. But Elizabeth Warren doing quite well there. And Olivia, we talked to one of the leading Republicans in central Massachusetts, Lou Evangelitis, about how national politics affects local politics.
And it's kind of interesting that he's, weighing in and saying, even though Worcester County is or Worcester itself is Democrat, we're seeing lately kind of a big switch between the two, where it's not just Democrat anymore. It's kind of Democrat and Republican because everyone is working so well together. We caught up with him, and we'll hear what he has to say.
That's who we are in Worcester County. We look at people individually, we respect hard workers, and we listen to the candidates. And I think if the Republicans show a good candidate, they've got a very good chance to win those county seats. And the county is 800,000 plus people, 60 towns, as I know, because I've campaigned in all of them. And it's a big area, but it's an area that I think is very open to the best candidate.
All right, so there was talk of a blue wave running through because of the congressional and the midterm elections, and that is yet to be determined across the country. And in central Massachusetts, what Lou Evangelitis was talking about was maybe there's not that blue wave that kind of ends here because of the voters in Worcester County. And one representative who could probably agree with that is Paul Frost in the 7th Worcester District, who looks to be another decisive victor tonight over his opponent, Terry Burke Dotson, a Democrat running for the second time against the longtime incumbent, really the dean of the local Republican delegation now. Paul Frost has been in office since 1997, and this was seeking his 12th term. He had a big numbers in Auburn tonight. We're still waiting on Millbury, but pretty confident Paul Frost will be re-elected. And we caught up with him about why, maybe his secret to success and in coming back to office year and year again a little bit earlier tonight.
I think it's the fact that I've always tried to be bipartisan. I'm not afraid to be a Republican, but I'm not afraid to be bipartisan. And I think I've been able to appeal to enough independents and enough Democrats as well as Republicans to be able to maintain this longevity, as you said. So, and that's it, just kind of really working together with people, working together with my local officials, regardless of what political party they are, trying to help a constituent, regardless of what political party they are. That all matters.
And in the first Worcester Representative District, we had Kim Ferguson. She is the incumbent Republican running against Matthew Moncrief. As of right now, again, the numbers are still coming in, but it looks like Ferguson is in the lead with pretty big numbers. We're getting some numbers out of Holden, where it is about 78% to 21%. So it looks like Kim Ferguson might be the one. She's been a state rep since 2011. And then moving over to the 5th Worcester District, we have Jean Ann Strauss running against Donald Berthium. Those numbers, again, still coming in. We're not really quite sure, but it looks like Berthium is coming in with 62%. He has also been a state rep since 2015, holding that position. It seems like will probably be
and that,
most likely.
And that was with about 15% of the precincts reporting in that race. That's it for the election center here. For now, Anna, we send it back over to you, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thanks, Olivia and Andy. Incumbent Ryan Fatman is seeking his third two-year term in the Senate. He faces Democratic challenger Thomas Morali, who is Mendon's assistant town treasurer. Morali says he knocked on 20,000 doors in the district. Fatman says he's been to more than 800 events in the last 2 years on top of legislative commitments, and says his work has been for commissioning reforms. Common sense reforms. It's too early to call this race, but it appears Fatman is leading his opponent. Now to the race in the Worcester, Hamden, Hampshire, and Middlesex district. It's the largest Senate race in the state. Incumbent Sen Ann Goby has served in the position since 2014. Before being elected to the state Senate, Goby served in the Massachusetts House of Representatives for 12 years. Republican challenger Stephen Hall is a nursing home administrator and an independent nursing home consultant. The race is too close to call at this time. Well, we'll have more coverage of tonight's election and results next. Stay with us. We now look at the race for Worcester County District Attorney. 12-year incumbent Joseph Early Jr. ran unopposed in both 2010 and 2014, but faced a challenge this year in former prosecutor Blake Rubin. Early will continue as Worcester County District Attorney with a win tonight. Our Cam Jandro caught up with him after the victory.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined by District Attorney Joseph Early Jr., who's been re-elected to serve as Worcester County District Attorney. Joe, what was the message that resonated with voters that they chose you tonight?
What resounded with voters is they're appreciative of the good job my employees, this office is doing, and they want us to keep fighting to prevent crime, fight the opioid epidemic, and continue to help victims of sexual abuse and trauma. It was a referendum on all the good work our employees in our office is doing. What the voters said tonight resoundingly was they appreciated our positive campaign, issue-oriented campaign, and they want us to keep fighting for the safety of people in Worcester County.
And as you mentioned, the opioid crisis was an emphasis your office put on. What is the plan moving forward for the District Attorney's office?
The plan moving forward is to take best practices throughout the country and bring them right here to Worcester County and work with our partners. It's a community problem. It requires a community solution, and we have to work with all of our partners to bring the best strategies, best prevention tools, because prevention is always underutilized and underfunded, but not here in Worcester County. And we have to fight with everyone working together to beat this crisis.
Congratulations, Mr. Early. Once again, District Attorney Joseph Early Jr. is re-elected. He will serve as District Attorney for the next 4 years. That's it for now. In Worcester, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
Republican Jen Casey is seeking re-election to the Governor's Council representing the 7th District. Casey was elected to the Governor's Council in 2010 and is the first woman to hold her district seat on the District Governor's Council and is the only Republican. Her opponent, Paul DiPaolo, is a lawyer in a private practice. Currently, Casey leads her opponent with 56% of the votes, but only 16% of precincts are voting in. For the first time, current Clerk of Courts Dennis McManus faces a challenger. McManus is seeking a third 6-year term as Clerk of Courts for Worcester County. Also vying for the seat, Republican Joanne Powell, who's head administrative assistant in the Worcester Probate and Family Court. McManus is currently leading the opponent. Well, let's send it back over to Andy and Olivia now.
Anna, thank you. The governor's race decided very quickly tonight. Governor Charlie Baker re-elected, and that race was called by the AP within a minute or two of the polls closing. Governor Baker led in all the pre-polling coming up to this, but Governor Charlie Baker re-elected with Karen Polito, the lieutenant governor, re-elected tonight to another term. And one interesting note, 4 years ago, Governor Baker, Governor Polito lost in the city of Worcester to Martha Coakley and Stephen Kerrigan. This year, they won Worcester with about 58% of the vote. Wow. just a few, they're addressing their supporters right now. Earlier tonight, a key staffer on the Baker-Polito campaign addressed why the governor was so successful and maybe so popular.
One of the things Governor Baker has done is really worked hard to build a bipartisan coalition in support of the problems that he's been working on and in support of his candidacy. So we have great support from Republicans, we have great support from unenrolled voters, and we have real good support among Democrats.
All right, again, Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, who is from Shrewsbury, Central Mass native, re-elected to another term. The question's a big part, the ballot question's a big part of this campaign. Question one, Olivia, millions of dollars spent on staffing for patient to nurse staffing limits, essentially.
Right. I know here we've covered a lot of different debates that have kind of, been held on that question, explaining the two different sides. And I know at first it was kind of a little confusing to people, but I think the more that you saw, you kind of understood where both sides were coming from.
Tonight, the yes side, which was backed by the Mass Nurses Association, has conceded no, winning in that question. Yes, a win in question two, and in question three, that question, yes, appears to be a winner. Again, that would uphold the current law in Massachusetts which prohibits discrimination against all people, transgender and otherwise. So the question's a big part of today's race. Congressman Jim McGovern, a big winner tonight as well. We mentioned, in his celebration, he talked about this was a win for decency. We do have a little bit of sound from the congressman giving, addressing his win tonight as well.
We have to find ways to lower the cost of prescription drugs. We need an infrastructure bill to rebuild our country and put people back to work. We need to deal with the issue of income inequality. We need to find a way to take money out of politics. Climate change is an issue. I mean, there's no shortage of issues to deal with, but we need to come together and we need to work together. We need to get things done.
You've had the seat for 22 years, and you still get support, and you got support obviously again tonight. How does it feel to have that support from the voters in the Massachusetts 2nd Congressional District?
I'm deeply humbled and I'm touched, and I love my job, and I love the people of this district, and and this is a great victory tonight, and I can never say thank you enough to the people of this district.
All right, and that'll do it for us from this side. Anna, we send it back to you.
Thanks, guys.